Hi class, my name is Heath and thank you for joining me. Every day we all make decisions, some without even realizing it. Some we consider very easy, like deciding on what we should wear that day or what we should have for breakfast, and some are more impactful, like taking the time to put on your seatbelt when you're in an automobile. The purpose of my speech today, although simple, can save your life. So my purpose today is to advocate the importance of wearing your seatbelt every single time you're in a vehicle. As NBC7 San Diego reports, the amount of deaths due to automobile accidents is on the rise. So in order to persuade you to wear your seatbelt, I would like to first share with you a few reasons why you should, such as it's a safety measure and that it's the law. Afterwards, I'll discuss any common myths that you've heard about wearing your seatbelt, such as they're not needed. And lastly, I'll provide you with real-life examples of how seatbelts have impacted me directly in positive and in negative ways. So, the main reasons to urge you to wear your seatbelt would be to keep yourself safe when riding in an automobile, and the second would be so that you could be in compliance with the law. The National Highway Safety Traffic Administration advocates for drivers and passengers to wear their seatbelts because it's the single most effective thing you can do to protect yourself during an automobile accident. Likewise, the Institute for Highway Safety also reported that 100% compliance with seatbelt usage could save between 12,000 and 15,000 lives every year. So it just doesn't make any sense on why you wouldn't wear your seatbelt. It's proven time and time again that it can help save your life. So either if you're on the back roads or on the highways, or if you're going fast or you're going slow, a seatbelt can save your life during a car accident. That being said, wearing your seatbelt within a vehicle should be common practice to ensure your safety. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, seatbelt usage saved 14,000 lives in 2016. So in order to save your life, wearing your seatbelt is one simple thing that you can do, regardless if you're the driver or if you're the passenger or where you're sitting in the car. It's important practice to follow. Though all ages can choose to show negligence when wearing their seatbelt, the most common age group, according to teendriversource.org, are teenagers. They're less likely to wear their seatbelts than any other age group, so I urge you, if you have any teenagers in your life, to please talk to them about the importance of wearing their seatbelt because it can save their lives someday. So now that we've covered why you should wear your seatbelt in relation to safety, I'd like to talk to you about why you should wear it because it's the law. In a lot of states like California, there are safety laws in existence which require all passengers in motor vehicles to wear their seatbelts. Therefore, by not choosing to wear your seatbelt, you're choosing not to follow the law, which does have consequences. It's important to note that as a driver, you're also responsible for the choices that your passengers make. The National Conference of State Legislatures explains that the primary belt laws allow officers to actually ticket drivers if passengers aren't wearing their seatbelts. So before you start driving, I highly advise you to make sure that everyone in your vehicle is all wearing their seatbelts because you'll be the one that has to pay the consequences if you're pulled over. According to the Governor's Highway Safety Association, a first seatbelt offense can cost you $162 of fees and penalties, which is so silly because you can make the choice to wear your seatbelt and avoid that. And it's also been stated that that's for a first offense. If you're a common offender, the fees increase from there. The National Traffic Safety Association reported that 37,491 people were killed in motor vehicle accidents in 2016, and 48% of those were not wearing seatbelts. Why not? This statistic is quite alarming for someone who is advocating for you to wear your seatbelt, so why aren't people doing it? Well, the main reason that people don't comply with wearing their seatbelt is because they're misinformed by myths. I'd like to take a moment to discuss some of the common myths that you might hear about seatbelts and why people are avoiding wearing them, so that way we can move on and go ahead and buckle up every time we're in a vehicle. First, people choose to not follow the rules or wear their seatbelt just because they think that it's their choice to not comply. However, once the click it or ticket law came into effect, we established that it no longer remains a choice, and now it's a law associated with driving or riding in an automobile. So to me, this myth is easily dissolved because it's now a law. Other individuals who oppose wearing seatbelts do so because of fear of being trapped in a car, if it's burning or if it's underwater. However, according to a study by Geico Insurance, seatbelts will actually help you in those types of situations because they'll prevent you from being knocked unconscious. So that way you can respond appropriately to those types of situations. Whereas if you didn't have your seatbelt on, you could be knocked unconscious and not be able to get yourself out and remain trapped. Similarly, some people believe that airbags are enough to protect them, so they don't actually need to wear their seatbelts, but this is incorrect. Geico Insurance explains that airbags should be used in conjunction with seatbelts, that they're designed to protect a buckled occupant, so if you're unbuckled, it doesn't help you as much as it could. Like if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you're in danger of actually sliding underneath the airbag or colliding with the dashboard or the windshield or actually being ejected from the front seat, which doesn't allow you to be protected by the airbag. Lastly, some individuals tend to think seatbelts only need to be worn on long trips or if they're going fast. Yet, did you know that most traffic-related deaths happen within 25 miles from your home and at speeds of less than 40 miles per hour, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration? So don't take any chances. Your life and the lives of your passengers are really important regardless of the speed or the distance that you're traveling. So in order to better persuade you of the importance of wearing your seatbelt, I'd like to tell you a quick story on how that they've impacted me directly in my life and in positive and negative ways. So during high school, one of my really good friends, Julian, was in an automobile accident. He wasn't traveling very far from home, and that day he decided to not wear a seatbelt. He was actually ejected from the car, and he died from injuries sustained from being ejected through the windshield. His choice of not wearing that seatbelt, since he was only going a few miles from home, drastically changed my perspective and many of my friends' perspective on why we must always wear our seatbelts. Although I was deeply impacted by the consequences of Julian's decisions, every story has a silver lining, and so does Julian's. So every time I get into a vehicle, I always think of him and the importance of wearing my seatbelt to keep myself safe. Now I'd like to share with you how the seatbelt has helped me personally. One day in early November, I was returning home from running errands. I was one stoplight away from home, just sitting there waiting for the light to turn. And all of a sudden, I was T-boned by a passenger behind me who was traveling at very high speeds. He just didn't realize the light was red. I don't know what he was thinking. So to me, in that moment of terror, I was actually felt a sense of comfort knowing that I had my seatbelt on and knowing that it could protect me. I did sustain some injuries, but nothing like the driver that hit me. He was actually air transported to the emergency room for some of his injuries because he didn't have his seatbelt on. So these are some stories and examples of how I personally have been impacted by seatbelts or people not wearing seatbelts, but I know I'm not unique. I'm sure you can think of stories about how that they've impacted your life as well, or people that you know. Likewise, the internet and the daily news are filled with stories about how seatbelts have saved lives, but sadly they're also filled with stories of people not wearing their seatbelts and what happens to them, and it's very disheartening. So today I informed you of the many ways that seatbelts can help ensure your safety when you're in an automobile. I've also dismissed some of the myths that we commonly hear about why you don't need to wear your seatbelts, and I provided you with some examples of how wearing a seatbelt has impacted me both negatively and positively. So I urge you to please, regardless of how fast or how far you're going, always wear your seatbelt and always encourage other people to do so as well, because it really is a matter of life and death. Thank you and have a great day.